Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here today, and welcome to episode 103 of Defining Duke Ultimate, a Defining Duke supplement. Today, I am joined by the deluxe edition, if you will, of Lord Cognito. How are you, my friend?
Big LC deluxe. It's a deluxe kind of situation. What's going on, man? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. I'm feeling great, actually. I finally got my hair cut. I don't know if it's noticeable with the headset on, but my hair got extremely long just out of nowhere, and I had to get it snipped. And so I'm in that, like, I've recognized, I don't know if you have this issue, but like when I get my hair cut first, I hate how it looks when it's first fresh cut. It's that like week or so afterwards when it grows in a little bit and it kind of takes on a life of its own. I don't know if that's only me. Like, I always think, no matter who's ever cut my hair, it's not like they did a bad job. It's just I look almost too clean cut. And then once it grows in, it becomes a little more natural. More natural product in there. Yeah, but when it's like too just got snipped, I'm not crazy about it. But am I alone on that? You said really, so I'm guessing you like the fresh cut.
Like for me, for the brothers, like it's that shine, it's that gloss when you get the fresh new, and it's very hard to replicate because your barber does a really good job. And then as it goes on, you just lose a little bit of that fly, like that fresh day first, and then he hook you up with the sheen, especially for my low fade cut dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's an event, it's a vibe. Like you feel like a new person when you come out the barbershop.
Okay. All right, I get that.
Whoever you try to make an impression with to see you that day.
Day of. For me, it's like week ahead of something happening. If I'm having something important happen, or I think there's gonna be like pictures going on, it's like snip, week ahead of time.
Oh, okay. So it's like yours is a grow into, like.
Yeah, I think it's because my hair is longer, right? So I think that's part of it. But I was curious if I was alone on that. Maybe someone could write in and let me know. But
that's a good discussion right there. I like that. Yeah.
But otherwise, we are talking about deluxe editions. This is something that we've got a handful of write-ins on over the last year or so, revolving around Xbox. And we can expand that to the broader gaming industry, but we're really going to focus, of course, on Xbox here because we've seen this trend, right? And I think it's a product of Game Pass, and it's changing the way we consume games, not only the way we play them, but the way that they're being sold to us. So the starting point for this conversation for a while has been what happened with Forza Horizon. Now, dating back to Forza Horizon 3 was when we were getting the deluxe edition. You pay some extra money, you get early access to the product, maybe a weekend ahead of time. And we've seen that grow over the years for Forza. And once Forza Horizon 5 dropped, which is easily the biggest one yet in the series, I think it got a lot more mainstream attention. And the Duke audience was asking, well, that was very successful for a racing game. So Dukes, does this mean that Xbox may bring this to other games? We've heard rumors about Redfall. We have a good look at what their deluxe upgrade is seeming to be. And then we're also going to look at Hi-Fi Rush, the recently released Xbox first-party game, which has its own deluxe upgrade. Kind of take a look at the lay of the land, what this can become for Xbox, and what we should expect moving forward. So, of course, we already know, we've established like what Forza Horizon 5 is. For those who don't know, there was a deluxe edition. You paid some extra money. You got the game ahead 3 days early. Then, in the terms of Redfall, while it has not really been confirmed what's going on with the early access, they're currently charging $30 for what is called the upgrade pack. And there's an additional 10% off for Game Pass members. So you'll get this for about like $27. Now, this deluxe pack includes, they call it the Bite Back pack, by the way. It includes Redfall's Hero Pass with 2 future heroes, a laser beam multi-weapon skin, a tactical knife stake weapon attachment, the Northern Expedition Devinder outfit, the Eyes in the Dark Jacob outfit, War Clothes Layla outfit, and Engineer Volunteer Remy outfit. So what you're getting effectively is each playable character gets one cosmetic that you won't even be able to see because, first person.
Yes.
You got a couple weapon attachments, a skin, and then 2 heroes for $30, 27 if you're in Game Pass. Hi-Fi Rush, a little bit different here. Hi-Fi Rush gives you 2 additional outfits for Chai, 7 bonus t-shirts for him, an 808 themed guitar skin, an 808 alternative skin, and 20,000 gears for unlocking new combat skills and upgrades. That's currently going for $9 with Game Pass. So $10 if you're not a Game Pass subscriber. And the reason we wanted to bring attention to this is, of course, we don't want to overreact, but this was a game that Phil himself had already said, and we'll talk about that more on the show next week, being Hi-Fi Rush was like, possible because of Game Pass. Not making the game, that was already pitched well ahead of it, but the shadow drop, the way they released it. So again, Game Pass is changing the way we consume titles, and Xbox is adjusting and selling them to us a little bit differently. So we're seeing them inch in with these different deluxe upgrades, whether it be Bite Back, Hi-Fi Rush, and its deluxe upgrade, Forza Horizon 5. Cog, I'm curious of this trifecta of deluxe upgrades that you're seeing here. How you feel about each of them? We'll get into each of them. And then, of course, we're going to get into afterwards, like what this means for future Xbox titles, because you got to start thinking about Forza Motorsport, Starfield, Hellblade, Avowed, so on and so forth. And so go ahead, take it away.
Yeah, no, this is a good discussion point. It's worth talking about because it is something I've been thinking about. And, to me, it comes down to the monetization models and how they're going to approach it on a game-to-game basis, especially with these games being in Game Pass, a majority of these games being in Game Pass, and then how does the money come through on the back end, right? So we look at it on an individual basis. I look at the Redfall. Surprisingly, I did not realize Redfall had a hero pass. I did not know that there was going to be 2 few. I thought we were just locked in to those 4 and maybe they'd build around those 4 with story cards. So there's a part of me, to be honest, to be fair, that is excited about 2 potential new heroes.
Right.
The price point is interesting,
Yes.
30 beans, bro, 30 beans for essentially, like you said it perfectly, which is skins in a first-person game that you really don't see your character though.
Got to do the weapon skins, right? This is amateur hour stuff, right?
Yeah, like
weapon skins.
And correct me if I'm wrong. When you do your abilities, do you see your character at all? Is there any transposing?
So far, everything we've seen so far has not shown things going third person. Obviously, the benefit would be another player sees you in your skin and they go, oh, hey, what's that you got there? But that's almost like marketing, right? I mean, that's how it's always been, but it's like that doesn't benefit you. I was hoping for something. This is a top level to me to reach in first person skins is say what you will about Riot, but Valorant's gun skins are incredible. If you look up some of their like premium gun skins and how animated they are, like there's one that replaces the rifle with like a literal dragon and you pour like lava in the top. It's amazing. So I feel like this world is creative enough where, they should be exploring those gun skins. But the reality is that what we're seeing here is, as you were putting it, a handful of outfits that you can't really see. And that's at least half of what you're paying for, right? When you look at the list of stuff, half of it is outfits.
It's outfits. And that's the part where they lose me at, because again, I feel about the hero pass, which theoretically, should include those 2 future heroes. I get that. But at a $30 price point, like you could hit me with the 15, you could hit me with the 10, but the 30, like 30 seems to me like you're trying to you should give me like an expansion. It should be like, okay, and then you're going to this other area. You know what I'm saying? Or then you know what I'm saying? Like then there's these other bosses and whatever. Like, is it just going to be the same content with just the 2 characters of the same existing content? Like 30 beans is a lot for me. You know what I'm saying?
It's the same price as Hi-Fi Rush.
Bruh, what are you? When I hear 30, I feel, because this is my Destiny sensibilities. I feel expansion. That's 30. You giving me Phantom Liberty, Cyberpunk. You giving me a whole new. So I'm gonna push back on you a little bit, Redfall, and I like you, but you gonna have to show me more. I know you.
I'm kidding. Go on.
You got to show me I'm gonna be fair. You got to show me a little bit more when you do your little marketing trailer on what this 30 is, because way this is listed, this don't look 30 worth 30.
Yeah.
Sad. But where you
Yeah.
at with it?
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Mm-hmm.
I get the idea of more playable characters being that much, but for example, like when Dishonored or Prey was around, I swear I'm not going to go down this route of like this is what it's got to be, but they were selling expansions for these respective games for around cheaper actually than what you're getting here with Redfall. And I think they're really banking on the idea of, again, it's changing the way that we're consuming it, is that this may look ridiculous to the consumer spending 70 and then an additional 30, but to most people in the ecosystem, and probably even Xbox and Arcane themselves, they're like, well, you're going to download the game through Game Pass, almost no doubt, right? So $30, you're getting really less than half, aren't you, instead of 70? And that's how they get you. And right now, that price proposition is technically fantastic, right? You get the full game and you don't even have to really, you're paying for your subscription, but we can start to walk down that ever so slightly Nintendo route, I feel, where, what they do is they'll ship something like Mario Golf or Mario Tennis, these latest sports games, the Wii Sports game, or I'm sorry, Switch Sports, and their skeletons. And, oh, I'm sorry, Mario Strikers as well was the best example of that. And they just slowly add on content over time. So what I fear is that eventually Game Pass could start to deliver more thin games as we get rolling. I think the early deliveries of like the new investments for Xbox starting in 2018 are going to, be big bombastic games, and we're going to be really pleased. But I worry about the long-term ramifications, just given what we're seeing here with the deluxe edition and how they're already upscaling something that this would technically be, in my eyes, like a $15 pack, probably. I think that'd be
100%.
But with Game Pass, it's pretty much doubling what I'd say the price proposition would be for the typical consumer. So it's a little worrisome, right? Just a little bit.
No, I love these discussions because, these are the honest takes. And I know a lot of people that don't listen to us and try to clip us and come up with narratives. They don't realize we hold them to task. And these are things that even I, as a Game Pass, Game Pass is one of the best values of gaming. Make no mistake. But I'm also understanding of how corporate structure and monetization models work. And especially now, it was such a struggle for them, for the industry, to even push to 70 without knowing that they're going to get this from the fan base, right? Mm-hmm. So I always tell people, if they don't get you there, they're going to get you on the back end. These are the type of things we have to monitor, because the mentality is, oh, you got Redfall for free, right? So now that you're in, what about the price point? Is that comparative? You know what I'm saying? Is that fair? Are we getting the same value? And are we tacking on or making things more exorbitant because you're trying to get more, on the back end now that you got someone in the ecosystem of Game Pass? And that's something to monitor for sure.
100%. Yeah. And so I think, with the premium add-ons bundle, that was $20, I want to say. It's obviously going to change in price now for Forza Horizon 5, given that they've thrown in, Hot Wheels, there's a VIP pass, I think it's like a car pass of some kind. So I think that price is going to change, but just again, we're going to, I think, see a different scenario for every game coming out of Xbox. Like, I'm curious, for example, how Starfield will be handled. Like, Is that something that, how do you upscale that? Because Hi-Fi Rush is just it's a completely different game. It's a good touching point because I didn't expect anything from it. And they're like, okay, for 10 extra bucks, you can get skins, 20,000 gears, some new outfits, some new shirts. And that's not really a crazy amount of money. So I'm wondering, what's the plan to monetize that game? I think every game's going to have its own form, whether it's like Hi-Fi Rush, where it's completely unnecessary in the sense of I don't need to buy that at all. Just play the game. But almost like the Ubisoft time saver energy, like, hey, $9 here, get 20,000 gears, get your character started. Yeah. You could do that, right? And with Starfield, I think of something like what we've seen rumored is the Skyrim marketplace, and how it's going to take on this kind of Minecraft marketplace demeanor. And you're going to see all these different mods being put up for sale. It's going to keep the game alive for a while, but my prediction is that they're going to carry that into something like Starfield, no doubt. And like maybe that's the way that gets monetized, because then you've got people downloading the game via Game Pass, and then you can monetize via, of course, add-on content that they'll pay for. But I would say that marketplace. So again, I just believe every situation is going to be different, and we need to pay attention to that, because some are going to be less appealing, like Redfall, compared to others like Hi-Fi Rush.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's one to monitor, especially, this is a good small sample size from the Bethesda house, right? Of how Bethesda is moving, so to speak, right? But to your point, each game looks like it's going to be individual. The key for me is going to be these single player kind of games, because theoretically you can't really monetize unless you do like the expansion or whatever. But to your point, creation engine, mods with Starfield, Starfield is a big question mark to me, because as we know of it right now, there's no quote unquote multiplayer. Usually that's the quick fix, the quick in to kind of throw a monetization, throw a battle pass, whatever. But we don't have any of that. But we do know that there's tools. And I was going to defer to you with in the PC scene, or just in general with the modding community, like, how's that price point and stuff been for that? Has it been egregious? Because that's a scene I'm not really familiar with. I've
like
never,
the price point for what exactly? Sorry.
Just like you're doing mods in Skyrim and all of that stuff. Like,
because it's all free. That's the benefit, right? So it's all free. And when it comes to Creation Club, that's where there was a lot of pushback in the Bethesda realm, because they introduced this kind of, what they denied it till they were blue in the face, but they introduced it as what is effectively paid mods. Like, there were these things that were literally mods that you could get on Nexus and download and put in your game for free. And they were getting actual modders into this program and having them sell them pretty much. And they were putting them on like a small salary. And like, there were modders I knew who were saying like, yeah, I can pay my apartment's rent now because of this. Like, so it was a great opportunity for them. That's why I was never like 5,000% against it. And it wasn't to like bring down their work. It's just Bethesda was charging extremely high prices. So I think when the marketplace rolls around, to kind of answer your question, I think there will be a lot of pushback for sure.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know.
I feel like, when you see modders making something like Sky Oblivion, I love the idea that I can download that for free. A full Oblivion remake in Skyrim.
That's insane.
But I'm totally for them making money off that. I think they should be able to sell it. I really do. I mean, especially when they're not even, they're using Bethesda's game as a template, make no mistake, but they are making their own assets, because Bethesda has made a rule. Like, you cannot just take what we made and put in your thing and call it a mod. Like, no, that's not allowed. That's where they will send the cease and desist and shut your mod down. So that's why I'm like, if they can make money off of it, that's great. But obviously, Xbox is going to take a cut. And with every update they do, and every time they reintroduce something to these Bethesda games, it's a pretty funny story on how everyone's mod orders get messed up, because Bethesda changes the back end. So your whole modded playthrough gets screwed up. That's why most people on Skyrim just have updates off. They just turn them off completely, because they're like, every time Bethesda updates the game or adds a new version, it just shuts down their whole playthrough, because the update just ruins the whole mod order. And so things break, disable, and modders got to double back and fix it. And they're not compelled to, because, it's free. So that's why I think Bethesda's invested in monetizing it, because it keeps their player base satisfied, but also they're going to make money off of it. And of course, Xbox wants the bills off of that. So I think,
of course,
that's also why Game Pass and modding has been something Xbox has been kind of pursuing, like making sure, you can go in and manipulate the files. I think it's for Starfield, no doubt.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, I'm glad you explained that. Just to get back on track for me with Hi-Fi Rush, this particular one, obviously you got the two chai outfits, T-shirts, you can mix and match. This is not egregious to me personally. This one, I'm just like, okay, this is purely cosmetic. If you want to style your man's out, you could do that. I'm assuming what's that $5-10 range. I don't know if the price came out.
Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush, $9 with Game Pass.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go crazy
without.
10 without. So and then all right, yes, 20,000 gears in the game does allow you some upgrades and stuff like that, no question. It doesn't seem super egregious, because I played like 2 stages of it, and I saw like what the gear allocation is towards like certain upgrades. Some of them were like maybe 10,000 here. Some were cheaper, 5,000. So you get a couple of things. This is not bad to me. This is to me typical standard stuff. If you want to support the game, fine. If not, you really love it. So I wouldn't go too crazy on this. That's just me.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, especially because I didn't buy the game. So like this would be one I'd probably end up picking up. Like, Game Pass does give these developers money. So it's not like, they're not getting any if we don't pay for it. But it's almost that like when you're really liking something, because I've been really enjoying Hi-Fi Rush. It's almost kind of a, here you go. Thank you.
I didn't get that. I didn't know if Matty touched yet. Just get his.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude.
I mean, early, quick. I know this is a different dude, but
no, I know, but it's so good. It really is. I'm super impressed by it. I'm trying to detach myself from the moment, right?
Yes.
Of how it happened, who's made it, how it's a very unlikely Xbox game. But I think that's a part of what makes it special. Is like this needs to be celebrated more because it's not your standard Xbox game, and it's great. But man, I'm having trouble getting used to the rhythm. Like,
my rhythm.
I thought I was good with that. Like I thought I had a musical bone in my body. Nope.
So what I had to do,
has taught me the wrong way.
What helped me, just real quick, is I turned off that little helper at the bottom.
See, I turned it off too, and I just started using my ears.
Using my ears, and I got better. But
I was paying attention to the bottom way too much.
Way too much, and I'm not even looking at the fight. I'm looking at the bottom, and I'm like, nah, I can't do that, bro. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but Hi-Fi Rush is great, and so I think that's kind of like the fair one. I think if you were to look at all of these, right, you got Forza's early access, you got Redfall's thing. You got Hi-Fi Rush's kind of added on, if you want, approach. And then you take a look at the broader Xbox first party. What do you see? Obviously, I think they're going to be case by case, but what do you see as the most applicable one? Like I, for example, would see Contraband taking the Redfall route. Like I think whenever we get a live service, multiplayer focused Xbox exclusive title, I think it's going to be the Redfall pack. Like I think you're just going to get like a pretty overpriced sort of like, hey, if you're interested in this, it's a lot of money, but like you didn't even pay for the game. So like I think a lot of people are going to be like, oh, why not? Why not do that? I think that's the one you're going to see for that. But meanwhile, like Hi-Fi Rush, I think will be applicable to something like Hellblade 2, get a sword for Senua or something along those lines. But what are you feeling on that?
Yeah, I think we're going to see some standard fare stuff. I agree with you on the cooperative multiplayer stuff. To me, standard fare for them is always going to be Battle Pass / Season Pass, DLC, a couple of skins here and there, and they hit you with that between that 15 to 30 range, depending on what the content they feel. Redfall, you're asking a lot, but depending on the content that they feel that they're going to give, they'll price it accordingly. I think that's going to be the key. I also think I know we touched on it briefly with Forza and a little bit with Gears. I think multiplayer and live service and co-op, I think they're going to try to entice with like that early access. Get into either it's 2 tracks. Either one may do, hey, you pay and get the whole thing early, whatever. Or I remember I think with Gears, it's like they would get you into the ultimate tier. So if you're in ultimate, Game Pass ultimate, bam, 4 days early, 5 days early, rock right now with, maybe we still, Redfall is giving you this, but we don't know. They may hit you with as it get closer, early maybe access. Before May 2nd, hey, you want to rock out right now? You and your buds want to go, I could totally see that FOMO with the cooperative and the multiplayer games. Yeah. So I think that might be something to look for. Now, the single player is where I have the biggest questions on, like the Starfields, obviously Hi-Fi Rush, we see what's going on right now. Those are a different pocket, and I'm dying to know how they handle that, because you can't tell me that they don't want to monetize and get some additional money on the back end for these games, but how do you do that? And those where I think it may be case by case. But what do you think? You think what do you think the approach may be for all different scenarios?
Yeah, I think the traditional, like, if I were to look at Starfield or Avowed, right, I would typically think if Game Pass were not in the scenario, they'd follow the same DLC route, being like here's expansion 1, here's the zone you're going to, here's the story that's going to be. Bethesda and Obsidian are identical in that. Like, just look at how Outer Worlds was supported. Like, that's my favorite DLC style structure personally. Like, I just love that. Like, especially the way Obsidian did it with Outer Worlds, kind of baking it into the core game and making it a part of the main story. So if you were to play it from start to finish with the DLC until it all kind of connects. I think with Xbox Game Pass in the mix, though, and the way we're seeing them go with it, I do expect that traditional approach to be dead. I don't think that something like Avowed is going to just do that. I think maybe they will do that, but I almost feel like it's maybe not a mandate from up top, but it's almost expected. You better have something separate to sell at launch, whether it be a new version, a deluxe cosmetics pack, whatever it may be. And I just think that's the route we're going to go with this. Yeah. And the reason it's important to tackle now is because of how easily that can spiral, especially if leadership changes. This is the mandate. And the next set of leadership is very much like, oh, why not another time saver, a pack here, a pack there? Then it gets out of control. So like you may have a stayed hand right now with current leadership, but if this is the current Xbox mantra, you get a bean counter type leader in there, and I think it changes the game entirely. So it may be long-term ramifications. It also could be short-term. But when it comes to games like Avowed and Starfield, I think the expectation, no matter who you are, is like have something day one. Because I just can't see. There's a degree of Xbox that, like they've said, as late as October of last year, Game Pass is profitable, makes up 15% of Xbox's revenue, which is excellent. But they have to know internally, we can't just give this away. Like when it's Starfield, we can't just give you a $70 game that we've invested hundreds of millions of dollars. We just can't do that. And the way Game Pass works is like many people's general income is you want to have multiple revenue streams, right? People buying the game, people sign up for Game Pass, people buying this pack, that pack, the marketplace. They need to create multiple revenue streams per game. I think that's going to be the order of operations. And does that sound like a loss to you? Because you don't have to, for us, like we buy all our games, like I buy all the games I review. So at the end of the day, Game Pass doesn't make a huge difference to me. It's more like a discoverability engine, but I still buy everything like I play and review because that's just like my personal policy. But do you feel like that's a fair trade-off for like the average consumer who says like, well, I'm paying $15 a month, so who cares if they monetize wherever they want?
This is a good debate because there's going to be, depending on how this goes, there could be a sentiment that eventually, as this picks up and it gets more successful, more of these quality titles, right? Because let's be honest, at the end of last year, right before the game's about to come, here came $70, right?
Yep.
And the question is going to be, now that quality games enter the service, the wait, quote unquote, over. 2023 Xbox got games, right? That's the mantra now.
Yeah, I mean, the mantra in Developer Direct was it's just getting kicked off or it's just being started. So they're trying to have a big year.
Exact. 2023 is supposed to be the onslaught of stuff coming. We get the stealth drop, a high quality game, and Hi-Fi Rush. Let's just give it up, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, if this cadence continues, is it going to be a situation that when these quality games enter the service, some of them being in Game Pass is the core version of it, the base version of it, right? Without the bells and whistles. And if you truly want the experience, you're going to have to throw that 30 on top, and then that 70 becomes 100, right? Yeah. And then it starts to add up. And the reason why I bring it up is because we just got the financials. The Q2, the quarter financials came out. I'll send you the link here because we professional podcasters.
Yes, sir.
And then, so basically, we got gaming. Remember, because of 2022's lack of output, so to speak, right? Gaming revenue down 13%. Content and services down 12%. Hardware revenue down 13%. First party, third party content declined, but Game Pass subscribers grew. So surprisingly, they had Game Pass subscribers grow during a period where there really weren't a lot of first party AAA type releases.
Yep.
So when I look at this, now that the games are coming in 2023, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a nudge from up top as far as, hey, like you said, like, hey, what other content you have going with that at launch, or what else could we potentially tack on, and stuff like that. Like the finance guy is going to be in the room.
Yeah, especially when you have such a down year like last year. Like last year was, your two big games were what? Pentiment and Grounded. And like those are core pieces at the end of the day. Like we love them. We talked about them a lot, but they're supporting acts. Like you need to have your main stage attraction.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're right on the money that like there's going to be that order down top from up top, like, hey, really, hardware sales being down 13%.
Yeah, that was big.
This early, man.
That's big.
That just shows what 2022 did to them. It's like, it's year 3 and people are already like, no. Really 2 at that point. It's like, no.
No, that's big. Good. That's big. You have to have games to drive that service to make people buy consoles, right? So yeah, that's a big deal. And that's why I say, like, once things get cooking, I'm not gonna be surprised if we see, I don't want to single out Redfall like it's so egregious, but I wouldn't be surprised that you also get that tack on stuff that has a little bit of, a little bit of extra price on it, a little file, you know what I'm saying? Like the nickel and diming is what I call it. Like I wouldn't be surprised, because theoretically they're like, oh no, but we gave that to you for free. You Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? That, and we just have to monitor it. And it's good to acknowledge and kind of put the feet to the fire and see what they're doing on each individual, game and basis.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's really going to be interesting to see how it overall develops, because I think this is just the beginning. It's obviously a little tougher to gauge in the early goings as we're starting to finally see some games coming out. We've seen that those smaller passion projects aren't going to be heavily monetized. Your Hi-Fi Rush isn't going to be heavily monetized. Pentiment, obviously you can't. Something like Grounded, but like Pentiment's $20, right? So it's like, whatever. But like Pentiment or Grounded, they really didn't monetize at all, to my knowledge. So they seem to have a pretty good idea of like when they want to go in on something. And I think Redfall, they're expecting to be huge. Like,
yes,
based off what I was reading online, I sent you a couple of tweets from like people within the industry just kind of messing with you, because some folks were kind of going, Redfall, huh?
Streets.
Yeah, the latest showing for some, at least, that I saw was very exciting for them. For others, not so much. And I think Xbox is just internally expecting this to be a big game, a kind of big go to Game Pass and try it, play it with your friends. And they're probably hoping to get that kind of Forza Horizon effect, I think, of like, if they go forward with that early access, like how many people are going to pick this up just off of excitement. And I think as a business, I'm not saying as a consumer I want this, I think as a business, they'd just be smart to do that early access, because even if the game doesn't look that good for some people, it's a new Xbox game, and that's a rare commodity nowadays, and people might pay to get involved. I know it sounds awful to say, but I think people might pay to be like, all right, fine, boys, let's do this. $30, who cares? Like, I just think they could almost prey on that a little bit and just get some extra bones off of it. I mean, do you agree?
Like I said, I'm not going to be surprised, especially with the ones that they're really banking on. Redfall is one of them ones. Redfall is one of the ones they want people to really get involved. I think Forza is one of those ones where, hey, you want to jump in, you want to get the super deluxe, whatever, 4 days early, you jump in Ultimate, or you buy this digital version that's, all of this that's outside of Game Pass. It'll give you all these bells and whistles, season pass, car packs, maybe here and there, whatever. I could totally see that. So yeah, I think especially the ones that they're banking on the most, you will see that with. I'm pretty confident. That's my guess. That's my guess for right now for the bigger games.
Yeah. Anything with multiplayer, I think they're gonna just go ham with. But single player remains to be seen.
Yeah. A question I have for you is, because you're the Duke of Physical. So I had a question for you in this. Now that these cadences are coming out, and we talked about a little bit of limited run and stuff like that, but like, how do you think they handle that because there's a huge contingent like yourself, and let's just say, like, for example, Hi-Fi Rush is this really bright spot right now, this huge thing, and people want to really celebrate it and really like, yo, I want to get behind this, but all I got is the digital Xbox. Like, what do you think about this whole, this new Game Pass era with games coming out that might be really good?
Yeah, it's a really good question because, Xbox wants people to sign up to Game Pass, right? Like, that's the ultimate goal. You put something here so people sign up. I don't know the production cost of like printing a copy of a game, putting it on disc, putting it in a box, putting it in packaging and shipping it out. I don't know how much that ends up running them, but obviously it's somewhat of a profitable venture if we're still doing it to this day when digital is like really taking over. I don't know how much they make in comparison. I imagine they make way more on a digital sale, but there's a degree of people who just never have heard of Game Pass, never heard of Hi-Fi Rush. And I always am a firm believer that if you have the opportunity to put something on store shelves and be like, hey, this thing, it's right here, I think that we're going to see less of that. And that's the trade-off, right? Like, we get a special shadow drop like Hi-Fi Rush. We get a game that, here it is. You can play it now. It looks incredible. It's a first-party game. It's a full game. It's not just some indie style. It's like a full game. Have fun. But we can't just ship out box copies. Like, we can't do that. And this is where, as much as I don't really like how they're running their operation now, a tighter partnership with something like Limited Runs or 8-Bit Gaming, there's a couple of options out there Xbox could team up with to get a physical copy out there. I know the Motherload edition of Psychonauts 2, I don't think that came with a physical copy, but even if it did, that's not part of my point, is that it's rare, right? These great looking games that are just digital only, taking my whole belief of preservation, putting it to the side, I just think when it comes to these games, that's the trade-off you're making with getting these Game Pass games, these more risky titles, is they're going to minimize where they can. It's like, okay, your game can happen. It's going to be digital only, though. Like, we're not printing copies for this thing. And that's when the aftermath, like, if Hi-Fi Rush is a success, Xbox should pick up the phone and be like, okay, hey, Limited Run, can we like print 10,000 copies of Hi-Fi Rush for our fans? Yes. Okay, cool. Something along those lines. Because they do multiple things at Limited Run. Like, they'll do a pre-order lineup, and it's like, get your order in, we'll print as many as you order. And then there's like, oh, we're going to do what they did for Dead Space Remake and say, like, we're going to make the collector's edition for that. God bless when you get that, by the way. Just as a heads up again. For those of you out there who are like me and you ordered your KOTOR Master Edition, you probably got the same email I did, which is that it's coming around Q2 2023. I'm like, bro, they break down their whole production cycle. Here's how we make it. Here's how we do it. I'm like, oh, now you're just educating us. Like, that's it. It's just an educational email. Oh, man. So that's a sidebar. But
here's the conveyor belt it's on.
Yeah, exactly. Literally. That's the energy they were giving me. They're like, we work hard on these. We put a lot of time and care. I'm like, dude, stop. You guys are probably so crammed with orders right now. You need to expand your operation. That what your problem is right now. I do not care. Think of that Stephen A. Smith video. We do not, or no, wait, was it the?
Yeah, no, you got it. You got it.
The coach was it the coach from
Stephen A.
Oh, no, Stephen A. Oh, yeah. Like, we do not care. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, we do not care. And then as for the AAA stuff, the ones that will see store shelves, obviously remains to be seen. But Halo Infinite gave me the heebie-jeebies. I'm a little scared after that one, man. Like, that's when I saw that half printed disc, and it's just like, yeah, you may as well download it. Pardon me. I'm just like, shit, man, this is really bad news for me.
Was there any physical anything? Was there a statch? Was there a helmet?
They had the controller, right? They had the controller, the Series X, so they did good.
Yes, they did the yes. You're right.
But when it came to the game itself, even I bought it digitally. I bought it digitally. I chose to, knowing the physical was out there, because I was like, there's no fucking point in me owning this physically. Me, man. Like, wow, yeah. That says a lot. That's how worthless that paperweight is. It's just some data on a disc, and it's just marketing for Xbox to be like, hey, new Halo games on store shelves, by the way, if you want to go play it. But you literally could not throw that disc in your Xbox and just play. insane to think about. But it scared me, man, because like maybe their treatment of Halo is different than we as consumers would think. But I would think, well, leading into launch before this mess has happened, it's Halo, prestige, high class treatment, put the whole game on the disc, right? But it may not be priority one to them. It really may not be. So I do think Redfall, Forza, Starfield, that trifecta is going to be telling on a number of fronts. And yes, even on the physical games front, like two of those are really online focused games. And if Starfield has that marketplace, that's another online focused game. So I'm very, very interested to find out how they approach the physical release of those games.
Yeah, this is surprisingly important to me too, because I'm of that mindset when I love something or like they really knock it out the box, like I want to support. You know what I mean? Like y'all saw me. I got my Jin Sakai mask up there when Ghost of Tsushima. Like I wanted to let Sucker Punch know, yo, y'all did that. I'm in, and it's like I'm looking at Hi-Fi Rush right now. I'm looking at the acclaim it's getting. I'm looking at, unless I get it, Shadow Drop. You did something unique. I get that, right? So, but I'm looking at also like what you said. Halo Infinite, prestige, right? The franchise. This is Halo, right? You know, yes, they did the console. Yes, they did the controller. I get that. But I'm concerned, like, now Starfield, right? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I could have sworn In Exile did some real funny, shady business on their Twitter account where they had like, it looked like a collector's edition astronaut helmet thing.
They said they did some of that themselves, but...
okay.
But the timing was strange heading into...
The timing was strange, and it felt like some package Bethesda sent them, but I don't know, because In Exile is a funny account. I will say
now, the Starfield Collector's Edition may have leaked a while ago. There was like this trademarked watch. You know, the watch that you see in
okay, we're doing a watch. Okay. Because that's what I'm saying.
Like, loves the wearable tech in there.
Yeah, like when it's the big franchise, like don't just throw it in Game Pass, throw a controller and that's it. Like I want to have the Senua statue. I want to give me out. They got to get behind it. And I honestly, I like that you partner with Limited Run, but Limited Run, that's nice, but you should do some stuff yourself too. Right?
Yes.
Especially for your...
I don't trust them to do that. That's why I say they pick up the phone. I don't know if they have the...
That's true. That's true. They got to do something, because people, if the generation turns around the way people think it is, right? Or at least becomes this new era of Xbox, and let's just say Chai now is a household name. What if Chai becomes a star, right? You gotta immortalize this kid. You gotta have the cat and you better have, what is it, 808, and you better have all that.
Like 808 should be a meme. Yeah, should be on the box. Yeah,
but you are killing yourself without marketing. So I'm very curious to see how a digital model with Game Pass impacts that. And if marketing will push the finance guys to say, yo, we need to get on this. Look at the metrics. Look how everyone's going crazy right now. I think Jess put a tweet out. It was like, I don't wait, should be the mascot or something.
Wow.
Look at Jess got, like, everyone's loving that cat, that robot cat right now. It's on fire. So
I mean, that's the problem with Game Pass, if you will. Very light problem, but they view it so much as a marketing tool, clear as day, that they kind of want it to do the talking. So think of High on Life, right? It drops, let the game do the talking, let it market itself. That's all they're interested in, but they are like mitigating every level of risk otherwise. So until it's a big deal, you know, they're not going to do anything. And when it's a big deal, they don't do anything anyway. They just go like, all right, come sign up to Game Pass, And, you know, I guess, you know, do Netflix shows produce full on merch for their big shows? I actually don't know the answer to that. I don't watch enough television, but if we're really looking at this as the Netflix for gaming, then maybe the merch lineup is going to be similar to that. I just hope they keep that store popping. We haven't checked the Xbox store in some time. I might do
that right now. I know in terms of like gear, Xbox has been on it. They have come like years, lights and bounds above what they used to do in the past. Like their Xbox store is popping when it comes to actual wearable merch. Like you can now go out there and support your studio, support your game, whatever. And I'm seeing they continually update that. So what you laughing
I just
at?
saw a Halo Infinite shirt that says Infinite Love on it. I'm just like, that just has a different meaning now.
Yeah, it's a little different now.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe the Xbox shop will be the source.
Yeah, there's just a lot of interesting ways they can go about it. And ultimately, it all stems from Game Pass. That, again, the whole point of this conversation was, we have this new thing. It's exciting, but it's going to change the way things are sold to us. And, I think the traditional norm is out the door in a lot of ways. Like I said, I would start feeling the Valve. Like, I think that traditional 1, 2, 3 expansions are see you later. What's up? What'd you find?
Take it back. I know this is minimal, but I see a Halo Infinite Spartan statue with the one from the Battle Pass with the samurai suit.
Okay,
it's for pre-order. They have an action figure. They have an action figure section
for Halo. I've seen the action figures before. Yeah,
not those whack ones. I know which ones you're talking about.
Not the whack ones.
This is exclusive edition. $100. It look hot. I go for it. It looks really good. If you go to I'll send you the link right now. Let me say, you got to check this out. This is actually impressive. Like, I want to see stuff like this. Again,
that's what I was looking at.
Starfield. I want to see if you really gonna go in on these type of products. This is stuff PlayStation does really well, and people really kind of get.
Pentiment got a lot of merch. Oh man, have you seen this? Pentiment got a ton of mugs.
Are you serious?
Ton of mugs, playing cards, T-shirts.
Oh, I take it back. Maybe
blanket.
Maybe the answer is the what? Wait, Pentiment didn't get no blanket. Stop.
Yeah, got a blanket.
Pentiment is outside.
Yeah.
What?
Grounded got some stuff. Okay. All right. Hold on. What else we got here? Psychonauts 2. That's gonna be an interesting one.
That Xbox.
Yeah, Psychonauts 2's got some good ones here.
I don't know if you see that leather.
Wait, what?
I don't know if you see that Xbox leather jacket. We gonna have to do some of those offline shopping right now. That Xbox Letterman jacket. Bro, that look like regular gear I would rock. Like,
this is wrong now. No, they have a casual game section. And they're actually selling Microsoft Solitaire mugs and shirts and stuff. It says, keep it casual. It's cool to be casual. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Get this shit out of my store.
Yo, you right. Pentiment has a whole section. They got the playing cards that look like the Bible. They got mug. Okay, I'll take it. Maybe this is how they do it. And maybe they say the metrics on collector's editions ain't there. We just gonna feed this into the what you call it, the Xbox Game Shop, and get the fandom that way. Because they actually, it's pretty decked out.
They go all out with their photos for this store. I've noticed, like, Hellblade has a hoodie that I want to get. It looks awesome, but the woman taking it is like doing this pose. She's got all the makeup on. You see like masked woman in the background. Like, they do kind of go all out for it.
They're going all out.
This hoodie's on the list, by the way.
Let me on the Hellblade joint. Oh yeah. That's you. Yeah. I see that.
That's my biggest problem. I love hoodies too much.
Yeah, and I like the sleeve. Yeah, the hoodie is actually the best thing here.
Yeah,
because you got the thing on the sleeve. Yeah, I might have to. How much is it?
$40. It's actually a good price.
It's only 40. Oh yeah, let's see. They got my side, big boy. Oh yeah. Oh, we'll do it better. So Friday Duke.
I don't got large. They don't got large. Damn.
They got big boy. They got me the XL though.
I might have to dive into the XL. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, interesting dive nonetheless into everything happening with deluxe editions. All of this stems from Game Pass, of course, right? And so what we're trying to convey here in our shopping spree is the added on content, the support of their games externally, and that mascot thing. Like, I think Chai could be a part of this mascot solution they're looking for, right? Like, I'm thinking of that explosion of characters on the 2023 box art for Xbox Series X, and I hope that we see Chai make the cover. Like, part of it is like, obviously the fans making something important. Then Xbox has to support it further and make it solidified importance. Like, Chai is a character for Xbox, for example.
Yes.
Certain things are going to be a flash in the pan. Maybe like your Pentiment, you're not going to put Andreas Mahler on the cover. Like, no, I don't want it. I think Andreas Mahler is great, but I'm just saying, like, maybe that's not the one that they like really attach themselves to. I get that, but when something's really popping off or it's a special moment, it's two-way street, right? You got to make it as special as the fans make it. And I think that's where Xbox is struggling to meet in the middle a bit. Like fans want to have Redfall be special, and people were calling for more marketing. Fans wanted to make Obsidian games feel a little more special. And up until the launch of Pentiment, there was only like 2 tweets, I want to say. So Xbox has to work a little bit harder to make, I think, some of these games feel special.
Yeah, absolutely. No, well said, well said. And the only thing I'll say and give them a little credit is I would love to know, like, if the eventual, maybe one day in the future universe, get like a Greenie or one of the marketing guys, because I'm very curious if they would ever talk about like what their analytics actually show that gamers are gravitating towards too, and the way you market games in this generation. Does it do the trends show that, hey, what we're talking about doesn't really work anymore? And even things I hear gamers talking about Super Bowl ads and saying things of that nature. Like, if
they drop a Starfield trailer during a Super Bowl ad, I'll kind of be annoyed. I'm like, that's a showcase moment, man. That's not a put it on during the Super Bowl. Like, surprise, Xbox fans, and here's when it's dropping, by the way.
I mean, it is interesting to see what the analytics say, the telemetry says, what works, what's effective, and just trend and look at how they try to leverage that. I think that'd be interesting. Indeed. An interesting show.
Well, this is a conversation that we'll see how it develops over time, and we'll certainly return to it. Probably by the end of the year, we'll take a look at how these games have released, or maybe even quicker than that if we get more answers sooner. But this is a good look into what can become for Xbox based off what we're seeing right now with these continuous upgrades and supplementary gaming, we'll say, downloadable content. So with that, Cog, any closing thoughts for you, my friend?
No, good topic. I love that we attack this because, I like to monitor trends. I like to see how the industry's moving, what are they doing, and it's good to kind of analyze this stuff, and also to hold accountable if we see egregious stuff. Just because we love Game Pass and it's the best value game, and don't mean they absolve from all. They could do no wrong, and we're not doing that here. We're always going to be on the side of fairness, and if we see something out of pocket, we gotta call it out. So. Yeah, this is great. I love stuff like this.
Yeah, fun episode. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed episode 103 of Defining Duke, a Defining Duke supplement. We still got a lot of fun stuff in the can on the way, so fret not. And with that, take excellent care of yourselves, and we will see you next time around in 2 weeks. Remember, 2 weeks, episode 104, all right? Peace out.
Peace.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.